This is no longer a political issue. This is no longer a PPD issue. This is no longer a government issue. This is no longer pointed at one thing. This is a humanity issue. If we don't clean up, we all will crumble together. Yeah.
The pictures, the experiences that we're all witnessing here in Portland should be shocking to all Americans. The words and actions from President Trump and the Department of Homeland Security have shown that this is an attack on our democracy.
Portland was totally out of control. The Democrats, the liberal Democrats running the place had no idea what they were doing.
They're making it dangerous. They're making it dangerous because they come out with sticks and guns and shields to people out here with this mask. We are here because we want a better city, period. Period. Bottom line. What they're expecting is for everybody to get quiet, everybody to get tired, everybody to go home, and for all you good white people to be like, yeah, I went downtown and I stood with the black people and it was cool last summer, you know, and then it's over. No, seriously, I've been in Portland all my life, so I'm acutely aware of how we get down.
After the cops came out, they were like stepping up on a lady. She was just trying to get her purse. They came in and started swinging at her with batons. So I was like, whoa, 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 don't hit her. And then they turned on me and smashed me in the eye with their baton. It was very fun.
I stand with the good people of Portland, Oregon. I stand with the black people of Portland, Oregon that want to see real justice, right? Liberty and justice for all. That's what we want.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? That's the that's shooting at the mayor of Portland. What are you gonna do? Nothing. Nothing.
I first learned this taste from the PPD. Yeah!
All right, everybody. Welcome to an afternoon panel. A little unusual. We have a mid-afternoon Sancho panel. And big discussion that a lot of people are talking about is Portland, Oregon. Federal agents are in Portland, Oregon. There is chaos. There is madness happening. And it is happening right now. It is happening in our own country. It's happening where we reside in. It's happening within driving distance, within flying distance. So wanted to do a panel discussing this whole situation. I do have a StreamYard link, but I also have a poll that I'm trying to figure out why is it not working. Because, wait a minute, it's an active poll, so it should be working. So my question is, why the fuck is it not working? Press 1 if you guys see the poll in the chat. Press 2 if you don't see the poll in the chat. I have a feeling you don't because I don't see it yet on my end. So I might have to reclose it and do it again. So anybody want to hop on the panel and give me your thoughts on, all right, I just closed it and opened it. Let me see if it's going to show up now in the chat. So it is federal agents. Is it a good idea to be in Portland, Oregon? Yes or no? That is the poll for the day. And I'm waiting for Streamlabs to give me the actual poll instead of we doing this 1-2 bullshit. If that doesn't happen, I'm going to restart it again. I know there's a little bit of a delay with Streamlabs, but I didn't think it was this much of a delay. What the hell? All right. I'm going to just redo it again. So, how is everybody doing today? Today is Thursday. My wedding anniversary is this weekend. My 10-year wedding anniversary is this weekend, so I'm excited about that. 10 years of marriage isn't easy for either party. I think marriage is never easy. I mean, when you spend your whole life with somebody 24/7, there's challenges with that. Let me go to a poll. So I got a long, it says it's 20 minutes in. Federal agents in Portland, good or bad idea? It's got 0 votes because it's not even showing up. So I'm just gonna start a whole nother poll. Anybody want to join the panel? Please do. I want to get everyone's thoughts on everything. What's going on in Portland? Whether it's a good idea to send federal agents. How much does politics get involved in this? That's always a big issue with politics. The mayor of Portland was tear gassed last night. Federal agents, a lot of them are no name tags, no nothing. Is it merited? Do we think what's happening in Portland, Oregon should be happening? Do we think that federal agents should be there? Do we think that the local level can handle it? They have been protesting ever since George Floyd, and I want to commend them all for continually fighting the good fight, because with any cause, the number one issue with any cause is silence. The number one issue with any cause is people stop talking about it. You can do the biggest rally and protest all you want one day. And the next day, no one's talking about it. Oh, wait, Streamlabs finally popped up when I closed the fucking poll. You son of a bitch, Streamlabs. You son of a bitch. Streamlabs just popped up and said you could, okay, here it is. So a poll has opened. Federal agents in Portland, good or bad idea? Use exclamation down, vote for good. Exclamation down, always use the exclamation vote. And then after that, either good or bad. Good or bad. That's the poll, the afternoon poll of the day. All I see is a join panel link. Yes, we finally got the Streamlabs. I yelled at it enough for it to work. So I actually had another poll from the other day that I can't use today. So we got a live. Yeah, let me. Should I show? I liked it last time when I did it. That's not the poll. Where am I going? I'm in the wrong poll. I'm in the wrong poll. Hold on. Let me show you the good poll. The right poll. There's a dashboard poll right there. Federal agents. Right there. All right. Bear with me. You may or may not hear a dog or two bark in the background. That's because I don't really do a lot of afternoon streams. I'm too busy hanging out with my dogs and loving life. Exercise and exhausted them as much as I possibly can in this warm weather. They're all relaxing and chilling in the AC. And I says, hey, Chicago's on my mind. Portland's on my mind. And tonight might be a good platform for Chicago, talking about everything that's happening in Chicago. And today in the afternoon, discussing what's going on with Portland is beyond important because, like I said, it could be the biggest deal ever in Oregon. It could be the biggest deal in the neighboring areas of Oregon. But if it's not being discussed and it's not a topic on a daily basis, that's where the issue is. So far, we have a 50-50 split. We got 30 people on. I literally launched this about 10 minutes before we started, and we have 30 people on. Thank you for that. But I need everybody to vote. This is how to do it. These are the two opposing things. You can say bad, which is exactly how to do it, or you can put good, which is exactly how to do it. It's anonymous. No one's going to know who, where, and what, and why. Your vote is anonymous. So far, federal agents, we got 3 votes for bad idea, 2 votes for good idea. And I will say, if there's anybody on there that wants to hop on and kind of tell me why you feel it's a good idea or feel it's a bad idea, please do. Mr. Cool, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I just got off work, and I said I got to go out with Chuck and Disorderly and Denise and them tonight. I said I was going to come here, get some rest, put some food in my belly, and I've done none of those things.
This wasn't planned, to be fair. I was watching a lot of videos about this incident, and I act on emotion a lot. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to do a show in a half hour about this. So here we are.
I hate to say this, Sancho, but you are really good at this shit. You are probably far and away the best at it. I mean,
I appreciate it.
I don't even know who's the second. You know what I'm saying? It's that big a fucking, you're cut out for this shit, man. You are.
I'm getting better. I'm only under 2 months old. I mean, we only, we're 50 subs away from 600. Under 2 months. I'm scratching.
You're really good. I think it takes a certain type of person to even recognize how good you are. I'm guessing because people have already emotional investment in you, whether they like you or not. Maybe they're blind and don't really see the talent that it takes to keep a conversation going, to know who to ask the question to get them involved, what question to ask them, how difficult it is to come up with the correct question. I mean, all these things that I'm sure people take for granted and think is easy, man. I understand, man. I'm fucking impressed, bro.
Well, the humbleness, thank you. I think the humbleness is there. I mean, you noticed it the other night when I was like, oh, you didn't know that I'm on live. And you're like, I'm fucking subscribed to you. Like, I really think nobody's subscribed to me. I really have that attitude of like, when you and Eric Brandt were like, I'm subbed, I'm like, holy fuck. How is that possible? Like, I was having a discussion with Laura Shark and Tom Zebra's in the background yelling El Sancho. And I'm like, what the fuck? How does Tom Zebra know even that I exist?
I know, right?
That's a big, big deal. I mean, we had Laura on for almost 2+ hours last night on Ladies Night. They killed it. The ladies last night killed it. I know Nevaeh's in here. Shout out to Nevaeh.
I'm inviting motherfuckers to your room, Sancho.
Appreciate that. This is a big thing. And I think tonight we're going to do Chicago as well, which is your hometown. So I know it's going to hit close home to you. Having a platform, and I know you know this because you were involved in those protests a lot too. Your biggest fear when you do that is the next day when there's silence, correct? That's the biggest fear with anything protest-wise, is silence that follows.
It is. It is always a concern. It's always a fear. I'm always, in Chicago, they got a bulletin board of all the protests. I'm always checking that bulletin board, whether I'm in town, whether I'm able to, go or not, because I want to make sure that people are still active and shit like that. And thankfully in Chicago, we are still on fire. And excuse the pun, because a lot of the stores in my hood burnt up.
Right, but the thing with Chicago and Oregon is they haven't given this fight up. The tenacity. It's easy to give up. It's easy to give up. I've been involved in protests and rallies before, and, first couple hours, there's only 10, 15 people. I'm like, am I really doing this for the right reasons? Nobody gives a shit but me. Why do I give a shit?
Yes.
And then the worst part is the next day when you look at the newspaper and there's nothing mentioned. And there's not even, I emailed the media, I emailed them video clips, I did my job, and they didn't even cover it. Because at the end of the day, and I had this debate with Liberty Bird, welcome NJ Diver. I had this debate with Liberty Bird is whenever you do something, whether it's a protest, whether it's a rally, whatever it may be, the media needs to be your best friend. The media needs to be on your side. You may need to be the Hollywood rubbing elbows type, which I'm clearly not. If I don't like someone, I don't like someone. I don't like being fake. But when it comes to the media, would you rather have 100 people know about what you're doing or 2,000 people?
Me and Belle had the same discussion. She was like, Joe, I understand why you use the titles you use, which are usually cryptic or something, mirrors and shit like that, echoes, one word, as opposed to Tyrant Alert Must See. But she was like, when that video needs to get out, though, you need to change that fucking title. Make sure you got a thumbnail, because that's what attracts the biggest groups. If you really want your message to get out, which is what it sounds like you're saying, Sancho. I hate the fucking press. I think they're all evil and all of that shit. Every one of them. They're reporting on the wrong things every day, every night. So I don't want any parts of them, but I have to acknowledge that there is some truth in what you're saying, and I'd have to reconsider my position.
You need them. Here's why you need them. I'm going to go to NJ after this. We have an imaginary wall. We have an imaginary wall right now. Your message, you're screaming into that wall. In order to climb over that wall, there are a lot of people behind that wall that are going to be interested in what you have to say and hear. But you don't have a step ladder. Your ladder over that wall is the media, is the Chicago Tribune, is all those local radio, TV, and newspaper outlets.
Let me say this. I'm sorry. I want to get you in, NJ, but motherfuckers would have thought that with rap music and underground this, that, and the opposite. But they didn't go over to MTV or whoever the media were at the time. They came over. They made enough noise where the media had to come to them. That's always an option too. And I like to talk about what the topic is today. I like to talk about those cats coming into Chicago, but
we
NJ,
got a 50-50 split, NJ. What do we think about this, NJ? We got a 50-50 split. We're at a dead split right now, NJ. Where are you voting? Why?
Well, I came in at the end of the argument about 2 minutes ago, so I'm not even sure what you're talking about.
Good question.
The question is,
go ahead.
Feds are coming into, I think, 5 different states. Chicago is one of them. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad? Vote good, vote bad. And if I could put a bug in your ear, I know me and you disagree on this. We probably disagree. But I don't need more overseers, more officers in my fucking community. I'm tired of the ones I got there, ill-trained, and you're going to send more people that are less trained at handling into my community because you think what the last fucking 6,500 didn't do a good enough job. Maybe another few thousand will. I think it's just going to cause more bullshit, more hatred, and our hatred is ridiculous for the cops right now. I'm out there every day, even when I'm not cop watching. I run the streets like, damn it, I'm still in the game or something. And I see a lot of cops. I see their interactions. I see them standing around my guys. And the cops know The hatred level is super high right now. You can cut the tension between us and the cops. Shit's gonna explode. Federal fucking agents with no name tags, camouflage, and no responsibility, no liability will only make shit worse. They won't keep the niggas in line. Keep them niggas from acting out. Straighten them niggas out. How dare they set something on fire? Yeah, it's easy to send them to my fucking hood. Let them come to your fucking hood. Knock on your door and fucking check your ear and see if you got COVID. See if you think, yeah, federal agents are good then.
Well, that's my issue is where we're looking at it like, oh, it's Chicago. Oh, it's Oregon. I'm in Boston. What do I care? That's bullshit. That's a bullshit attitude because it starts with Chicago. It starts with Oregon. And they're going to see how successful they are there. And there's the potential of moving their way up north or moving their way up south.
Oh, Nevaeh said, what is your answer to the problem? Nevaeh, my answer is we need an entire new approach. It sucks, but my answer is in my neighborhood, all the schools are closed, all the after school activities, all that shit's gone. So my shit would be to all that money you're putting in the fucking police, all that bullshit that people talk about. Well, we can't keep pumping in the money in the school, but you can pump them in the cops, and they're ineffective as fuck. You can pump them into the war of drugs. It's ineffective as fuck, and you've been doing that shit since the 60s, and we know it's ineffective. Yeah, hang in there with the school system. Hang in there with after fucking school programs for the kids. Hang in there with fucking tutoring programs. These things. After that, you have to find employment opportunities. All of these things, man. Police just trying to beat motherfuckers that are angry to act right settles nothing. The next time we explode, it'll be worse, in my opinion.
How much politics are involved in this, guys? Because what I'm looking at and what I'm reading is Trump sent the federal agents, even the mayor is Democratic in Portland. He stood there with everybody, which I think is awesome, and he got tear gas for it. How much of politics is involved in this, and why with you two?
I don't know if you saw my mayor, but she's kind of getting criticized because the way she talked like she was street. We don't need him here. He don't make no decisions. We don't need more fucking federal agents coming in here in camouflage, trying to do this shit. Our cops need to be better trained, and she really went in on him. Of course, his stance is political. His Trump's go-to card is the way he got elected. I am the enforcer of the law that got him elected last time. And he remembers now that come time for election, you have to be the law and order candidate. So he's trying to appeal to his base, which is keep those niggas in line. Send some overseers out there to the plantation. Them monkeys acting crazy as fuck. We need more overseers. Get those horses and whips out there. And that's the way he thinks. And most people believe that shit. Them niggas crazy. Get them in line. Nobody ever takes the time to figure out why. Why are motherfuckers acting out? I keep going back to the same quote from the Bible. I love it and it's accurate. Surely oppression makes a wise man mad. Any semblance of fucking wisdom and patience that we had is gone. It's been disassembled, destroyed. We are mad. And you just kicking our ass saying behave settles nothing, solves nothing. The fire is burning and you keep covering it up so you don't have to look at it. I hope this motherfucker explode and said every motherfucking neighborhood who said vote yes. I hope all you niggas, I hope the corner store, the cleaners, I hope all y'all shit on fire tomorrow.
So what's the solution? What would, like, if you were given the keys to the city to say, hey, let's eradicate this. Let's fix this. How would you fix this?
If we're just talking about the cops, I told you, it starts with the kids. I hate to say that shit, but it's going to start with the kids, educating them, feeding them, giving them other activities. You know, drug selling is rampant here. That's our source of income, period, bar none. That's how we get bread around here. Cause here, you hear that unemployment shit. Black people are in double digits. Well, this is the neighborhood. Black men are probably 60-70% unemployed here. Yeah, so if you're talking about the cops, the first thing we would do, we're gonna have to train them. We have to have smarter cops. We got to take that cap off the IQ shit. We have to have college educated. We have to have classes that teach them, that the basic laws. How to respect this and that. I know it sounds childish, but we have to have classes that teach them these things, as opposed to, oh, he's 18 feet away from you, he can close that distance in a 20th of a second. So it's okay to shoot him. Oh, if she doesn't comply, I know it's only a tail light infraction, but you're supposed to arrest her, stand on her if she resists. You gotta stop training that bullshit. You gotta retrain these niggas to be human. Then we would help you. Yeah, we would help you, and also it would help if you had community members as the police and as the overseers of the police watching what they do. It doesn't work without that. But the community, I could call a cop then, because I know he's not gonna hurt the guy I call on. If I call on my girlfriend, there's no chance that she's gonna go to jail for months and lose her job and all that crazy shit that accompanies this bullshit. And so much has to be changed. Fucking getting rid of qualified immunity is a drop in the ocean. The whole system has to be revamped.
What are your thoughts, NJ?
Well, are you too familiar with Posse Comitatus Act?
I've been called worse, especially on YouTube.
I am, but please refresh my memory. I believe that's but go ahead before I tear it.
In basic, it prevents the President of the United States from using military troops against citizens of the United States.
All right, couldn't have said it better.
And basically what he's doing is bypassing it. And the only difference is these officers may or may not have automatic weapons.
So what do we do? So I always look at take me to your leader kind of attitude with any movement. You know that, Joe. And
that's dope.
I'm seeing a lot of people, thousands of people doing this in Oregon alone. My question to you is, where's your leader? Take me to is there a group, a specific group that is able to get to the bargaining table with the president, with the senators? What do we got here? I don't
see it, and I hope it's not BLM, because there are two ways to look at BLM. There is the organization, the leadership, the Soros shit that everybody hates, and then there are the 99% of motherfuckers out here just supporting the cause, saying that blacks are being hurt, and no one's attending a meeting or getting flyers, or invested in that bullshit, whatever their agenda is. So I would say I'd be afraid for the BLM leadership as it is now. I'm assuming they're going in there asking for something that I'm not looking for. And as far as the masses, the people out there protesting, this includes people of all races, by the way. Most of the ones, I shouldn't say most, but yeah, most that I go to are majority white and Hispanic, any fucking way. They're all in. I don't see a leader emerging, so I don't even know. I don't know how we go in front of someone and what we ask for. Maybe, the same way I fight to keep unity here. Right. I mean, even between enemies every day, then maybe, someone, if not me, someone is going to have to unify these people.
Here's what I got from you with your passionate speech, and I appreciate the passion. I got communication, lack of communication. And in my opinion, if there's no one set leader, who do we communicate to? Who do we communicate to negotiate? Who do we communicate for resolution? Who do we communicate to de-escalate this? That's a problem, Joe. If there's no one set leader to sit there and talk to and bring to the table, I mean, Trump had that a little bit, like in Seattle, they had one or two people that were the leaders that the police built relationship with. Where is that in Oregon?
I'm sorry, motherfuckers are steady texting me. I just sent them here too as well.
Where is that, NJ? I mean, obviously, when there's two groups having an issue, the most effective way to get to a resolution is to have those two groups sit down and, have a cigar and have a drink and try to iron this shit out. We can't do that here. NJ
Not
Diver.
Not yet.
But the carnage is going to burn. People are going to be, their rights are going to get ripped away why are we waiting? What are we waiting for?
When I said it's not time, it's because we just don't have the I can't.
The wherewithal to figure out who should be in charge.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if the movement is even there yet. I don't know if it's time for a leader. I think we need to make fucking someone says 10th man is the answer.
A mediator is needed. I mean, yeah.
A mediator is needed.
Need
you're
it.
probably right, Kimber. I'm not even sure though that we're all on the same page, hitting on all cylinders yet. When people say defund the police, I don't know if people understand what that means. When people say Black Lives Matter, I'm not even understand what it means. Mostly anybody in the streets understand these things, but the people we're trying to communicate to, the people we're trying to win over, the people in power who we're trying to get to change something, I don't think they understand. I still think we got some work to do before we even have a fucking leadership. I think we need to kick some ass, put some fear in these motherfuckers' hearts. And I hate to say it, but something violent has got to occur, because that's the only way these cats have ever been motivated throughout history. No one has been able to walk up to the president and say, these are wrongs, will you right them? No. But when you go on the streets, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the fucking protests and shit and deep into it as I am, but in the 60s, they did that shit. And they had many, the bus boycotts, a bunch of shit, busing people in for voting and all of that shit. Stop it, bro. You keep interrupting me
my issue with violence is the amount of violence we're asking for is only going to bring more federal agents.
I agree, man. I agree, but that's that don't act out, a massa will hit you shit. Massa's gonna hit me. I know that when I take my camera, pull it up to a police, I'm gonna get smacked by massa. And you know what? Everyone who loves you says, Joe, don't do it. Massa's gonna hit you. I'll say it the way they say it. Those police will hurt you. They're gonna target you. They're gonna lock you up. You got to take care of your brother, your dad. These are the things that you hear, and everybody that has an excuse. I got a family, I got a job. So until fucking we all come out on mass and we find a way to make that shit happen, man. I don't know. They say only 3% of everything that occurs is 3% of the population makes it happen. I'm sorry, NJ, what'd you say?
Because you got a bit of a problem. If you look at the map, you've got 50 states, 50 governors. 24 of them are Democrat. 26 of them are Republican. And you got one that's governor of Puerto Rico that's progressive of some sort. And the Samoans are, again, the protectorates, I should say, are both Democratic and Republican. Who is going to tell, you said it before, who's going to speak to power the truth? No one's willing to, because if they speak it, they're going to lose their job. We've seen it over and over and over again in this administration. I don't think he's got any original people that he took on first year left anymore.
Everybody. I remember something like 7 people left Obama over the time, and Trump was using that. Everybody he started with, his replacements, until you agree to be a yes man, he gets rid of your ass.
The other thing is, if you can't get the governors to speak to him, the next step is the League of Municipalities in every state. And again, you've got the aisle in the middle of that. You've got Democrats and Republicans. Who in this country is going to stand up to somebody that, whether you are his party or not, is going to send federal police into your municipality because he thinks you're not doing your job in law enforcement.
And which is it's really interesting to me that I've been to many, I'm sure I said this, 3 a day for a long time, protests. And I think I only went to one that turned violent. And we broke windows and turned over trash cans, and the cops beat our ass, maced us, and locked us up. So their violence was 20 times worse than ours. However, because people see this mist and government is God bullshit, they have monopoly on violence. They're allowed to do that. To them, you don't hit a cop, bar none. It doesn't matter what he does. You don't hit him. You don't, you don't yell at him. You don't disrespect him. People are so set in that. How the fuck do I get to where I'm trying to get to? It seems like an impossible task.
Well, when you have no one that will speak truth to power, it's going to continue on whatever that power wants. And even when you do speak it, how long can you talk? And how loud can you make your voice?
And if you're alone, you'll get crushed alone.
Look at this video, NJ. This is a Navy veteran standing as tall.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it dozens and dozens of times.
Beat and he's white, Joe. He's white, so that's a big thing that I want to point out.
I think that's a good thing. I hate to say this, but I want to see more white people, and please don't take this the wrong way. They're getting beat up anyway and oppressed. I need to see those images. I'm not concerned with the race shit no more. This is past that bullshit about black and white, right?
I hate to tell you, but when you're wearing one of those anti-gas masks, you're not going to be able to tell whose color or what. You're not going to care. You're going to see mass, you're going to see movement, and that's what you're going to strike out at.
I say I don't think it's a color issue, but I get excited when I see other races. The imagery sticks with me. I remember someone, Unicorn Riot, doing an interview. He's white, and he interviewed 4 or 5 people, all look different. Even the black guy, they was like, this nigga don't look, in chat, you don't look black. He was mixed. That was it was a Hispanic dude and a white dude on a car in the background. Everybody was saying intelligent shit. That imagery sticks with me, all races. And the first most lasting image is the first night before I did any fucking protests, and I saw on TV where a group of cops were standing up there with their clubs trying to be tough, and it was all white people, a long row in their face, yelling at them, expressing their disapproval of what they did. It still brings joy to my heart, man, because
there's a group, there's a group of moms. Look at this, white moms, black moms, everything, just standing the line.
Yes,
leave our kids alone.
Yes, Sancho, I can't tell you how much this makes my heart feel, because as a kid, I grew up that white people are the devil shit. It was hard. I had to, start getting out of my neighborhood, meeting white folks before I came around. So everybody tells me still, white motherfuckers don't care about you and all that bullshit, man. It's just warms my heart.
Look at this. Look at this.
Yes, right?
Look at this.
At that.
They got bike hats on. I mean, listen. Leave our kids alone.
I'll be in chat, modding for somebody, and you'll see motherfuckers making comments like, wow, those white people out there, what do they care? Why are they holding Black Lives Matter signs? You don't get it? This affects us all.
It affects everybody with their skin color, which we all have.
It started off as some black-white bullshit, but I'm glad that shit did not last. Immediately, every motherfucker saw this is not about race. It is about power and the powerless.
Peace and love. Look at this.
Look at this beautiful woman.
Look at her eyes.
Look at this beautiful woman.
What was the original reason he sent them there? What was the excuse he gave?
I don't know. But initially, people thought it was going to be a good idea until they showed up in fucking camouflage with no ID and just start pushing motherfuckers, beat motherfuckers, and they don't answer questions. Motherfucker come up to them and ask a question. Do you honor your oath? Bow. Shut the fuck up. Hey,
He sent
officer,
them
poof,
there,
poof.
and this is what he publicly stated.
Right there.
He sent them there
Quell
to
the
protect
protesters.
federal property. And what did they do? They came off federal property and drove people down the street.
And every protest that I've been to, if the police don't show up, it stays peaceful. Until the police show up with their tackers, they line across the street with their batons and block you. Or they cut the crowd and send you in different directions. They take 2 or 3 exits, cut off 2 or 3 of your exits so you only have one, and they try to pin you in. Until the police do these crazy tactics, the fucking shit remains peaceful. Again, though, why would you send the object of my hate to suppress my hate? That won't work. You're going to get these officers killed.
Yeah, it's like sending a bunch of Big Macs to someone on a diet. Kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, send a KKK in there to fucking to figure out why people don't like the KKK.
Up to 150 agents to Chicago. Department of Homeland, Lori Lightford. We don't need federal agents. That's your mayor. And told Trump he should, instead of enact gun violence reforms, focused on COVID-19 crisis and invest in community programs. Community programs is a no fucking brainer. It shouldn't be an idea to come up with in 2020. Why the fuck is community programs always something to just bring up when it should have been installed since the get?
I feel that way, Sancho. And, you know, this sucks after on the heels of everything I just said, but I feel that way. The day they stood on George Floyd's neck, white people started believing us. Where was that shit at the day before? You knew what was going on. I've been in these fucking rooms screaming it while everybody tells me, no, it's equal. It's the same all over, Joe. He shouldn't take that knee. It's disrespectful. How the fuck did they did not know the day before? Where the fuck were they at the day before?
Hey, Josh, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Is this really a guy named Taco Josh? I thought it was somebody having fun with Josh.
Taco Josh. Josh, you have any opinions on what's going on?
Yeah, I do.
Jump in.
All right. Well, first to answer Joe Cool. Yeah, we supported it. Yeah, we did, and I would say, everyone right away with George Floyd said it was a disgusting thing, and even before that, if there was a police killing, whether it be white or black, that was unjustified, anyone would say that was not cool.
I agree. Are you taking? I'm not sure what you're trying to say
There
for
were
that.
people before that.
Gotcha.
Taco, I think you broke up.
Are you there, Josh?
Yeah, just
We can't hear
to
you.
make a correction while we're waiting for him to come back on. The drug war started in the 1970s, Joe. It was started by Nixon.
Oh, I
not the
said 60s. It was 72, 73. I'm sorry. I think I did say 60s. Yes. Thank you for that. It was Nixon to quell the black people, the weed heads and the protesters, the hippies and the protesters. Yeah.
Are you better now, Josh?
It was the protesting over the Vietnam War.
Yes, but it was also a way to get the hippies and the black motherfuckers too. The guy Ehrlichman or something like that. His the guy who sat in the room with him and came up with the plan. He came out with a bunch of quotes recently. In fact, they re-aired them last night on the news, even though I'd seen them before. And he says, of course we lied. It is not about drugs. It was so that we can get the hippies, the black folks, and the protesters. We sat there and we said, how do we get them? I'm the one who said they all smoke weed. And, we came up with war on drugs. We knew it was bullshit, but it fucking worked.
Well, you just said a really important thing in that sentence. They all came in a room and came up with a plan.
Very good, Sancho.
We don't have that right now.
Hey, Sancho? Yeah, we do. We've had it for a very, very long time. It's called the Rand Foundation.
Rand, R-A-N-D. I've heard of that.
Yep. They have come up with contingency plans for just about everything.
I'm gonna have to try to
I'm
check
sorry,
into
Rand,
that.
Rand Corporation. Excuse me.
Right.
Either way, Portland has been overran.
By who? You keep breaking up. You're killing me, Josh.
You got great points, but you break it up. And you
President
say
has
it.
You're right. As soon as you get good, you break up and die out.
Josh, you want to hop off and hop back on, Josh?
Yeah, try that, Josh. Sancho, to what you just said, Sun Tzu would agree with you, the author of The Art of War. He said the war is won in the planning room, not on the fucking battlefield. You got to come up with a great fucking war plan, war strategy.
I'm just not a fan of let's wait for more bloodshed in order for shit to get changed. I'm just not a
Agreed.
fan. I'm not a fan of that because the more the bloodshed, the more shit's not going to change. And that's where it's like, come on. Like,
Do you think, listen, Sancho, I do a lot of fucking panels. I talk to a lot of people. I'm a social cat. And I hear over and over, and it infuriates me because even my good friend said maybe 1 or 2 on the panel, just behave, and then they'll treat you with respect. Is that even a fucking thing? If you act right, if you show them some respect, they'll treat you with respect.
it depends with what we're discussing. Like, what is the I mean, are we talking in this situation? Are we talking?
I'm talking cops. They tell me, just behave and your life will be better. Just do what they say. Don't get in their face. Don't yell. Don't curse. Just follow their orders. Do what they ask. Go through the legal system. I'm told that constantly.
That's a huge rhetoric out there. There's a lot of people, like, before I got involved in this, I had the attitude of, I don't call them, I don't bother them, I don't want nothing to do with them.
Me too.
But we're in a situation now where bridges need to be built, and you just can't shut up and obey and kiss ass. That's not how we're going to have a healthy relationship. Humans fight. Humans have disagreements. Humans have issues. And if it's just a bend over and touch your ankle relationship, that's never going to
that's not conducive to healthy to anyone.
But I will tell you, like, if you're painting somewhere and your boss wants you to paint a certain way and you don't want to paint it, but you do it the way they're supposed to tell you to do it, you might get shit for it. The police, a lot of them are just taking orders. My sergeant tells me to do it. But that same officer needs to build, and you as an individual, both of you, officer and civilian, need to do a better job from the jump. Need to do a better job from hello. Before you say hello, build relationship to the point where, hey, things might get changed if you're talking to the right person who's a deputy chief. Things might get changed, but if fuck you, blow me, you're a piece of shit, nothing's getting changed.
I agree. In fact, a lot of guys, the cops that I go in on, I go back and talk to them when I see them, and I don't even pull the camera out because they fear me after that. If I post a video of them, thousands of niggas have seen it. They're the talk of the town in the fucking job, and they fear me. I see it in their eyes. It's, oh my God, I'm threatening their job. I'm making their name ring among their peers. They don't want it. And I come up without the camera and I talk to them and they tell me shit like, Joe, of course you were right. But it's the fucking leadership. These old fucks, man, they make us do crazy shit. Nobody want to do this shit, Joe.
And that's huge. What you just mentioned is you have to have an on-camera and off-camera relationship. A lot of people don't do. A lot of people, you're only going to talk to me if the cameras are on. I'm not going to build a relationship with you on camera because I think it's not real. It's not genuine.
I got more conversations off than on.
You need those off because this is what I think a Joe Cool goal should be. A Joe Cool goal should be in 5-6 months when there's a new cop watcher in your area and an officer sees that person, they're going to be cool with them because of Joe Cool. They're going to be cool with them because they know, hey, do you know Joe Cool? He's good people. That's what needs to happen when it comes to you because the biggest issue we're having, Joe, is others who are coming before you are fucking it up. They're making it to the point where if anyone has a tripod or a cell phone, they're an antagonistic piece of shit who hates the police.
I know.
Change the script. Change the script. Find officers in your area to build a good enough relationship where that next cop watcher starts filming. They have a better job because Joe rolled the carpet out for them a little bit better.
I'd agree, Sancho, and no one will believe this when I say, but I did this shit for months, trying to, when I first started for a while, before I even pulled out the camera, and months afterwards, just building relationships. And when you walk up to a cop, say, "How you doing, officer? Get away from me. I don't have time. I'm busy." The disrespect was palpable. It was crazy. And it was every one of them. Every one of them has been taught this in my hood in Chicago. I'm sure you go up north to better neighborhoods, they don't do that. But here, every cop is taught to treat you like a piece of shit. They have to be, because they all have it in them. Even my guys who I've trained on this corner so thoroughly, Josh and Chuck B came out here and they gave him shit. They had Josh pushed to a corner on the sidewalk and they still pushed his ass back. And then they called me and they was like, "Joe, cop up here giving us shit." And I come up there and everything changed. They were like, "Joe, you know him?" I said, "Yes, they're both friends." Immediately, everything fucking changed. They was like, "Joe, they would treat me like shit." "No, we weren't. No, we weren't. No, we didn't." Yes, man, that fucking, it takes time. And
listen, like, we can go over leadership as a whole, but can we start by division leadership? Can we start by area code leadership? Can we start by, if anyone comes to your neck of the woods, they got to touch base with you and make sure things aren't fucked up?
When you go to jail, we got a guy that greets you when you come in. You know, what gang you're in, folks, Vice Lord, whatever. And they greet you. They make sure you got something to eat. They send you to the right people. We need that guy in the community, man. If someone's trying to cop watch, I need to be that guy. They found a burnt up body the other day in one of the buildings that was firebombed in Minneapolis 2 months ago. How did no one know this person was missing? Who said that? I can't see your name.
Tim Berry. Tim Berry's his name.
All right. Very good, Tim. And I'm glad you said that, because I was under the impression that no one had been hurt in any of these fires. That might change my mentality a bit.
You will get hurt when you play with fire.
Yeah, see, and that's what, you know, that's the narrative that, you know, the mainstream is building, is that, oh, no one's getting hurt by these protests and everything. And that's the BS. Is there's a lot of people getting hurt.
Wait. I heard one motherfucker was killed, and now you're saying the narrative that the protests are peaceful is wrong. One motherfucker got burned in the fire.
Right. But the media pretty much is like, oh, it's mostly peaceful, or it's peaceful, this and that.
It is.
No, it isn't.
The protests are mostly peaceful. Damn near all of them.
Tell that to all the businesses that are getting wrecked. Tell that to all.
As of July 5th, 2020, at least 28 people have died during protests, with 24 due to gunshot wounds.
Yes, and I would say out of the thousands of fucking protests nationwide, the hundreds we had here alone, just that stat alone says most are peaceful. Not only that, I've been out there and I'm telling you, most are peaceful. Ask anyone who's been out there to protest, multiple protests, most are peaceful. They're not going to make the news.
Right,
Joe,
but I understand.
Tell that to the businesses that have lost all their supplies, all the windows that have broken, that have lost their livelihoods, that they all the money and their livelihood that they put into their business that is now gone.
Of all color, black, white, everything.
I'm not seeing your point. Are you telling me because this nigga's miserable because his shit got burned up that all protesters must be bad? The majority is bad? You're telling me some guy is hurting, and I agree it sucks, but it doesn't argue or debate my
that
point.
Happened everywhere, Joe. That happened everywhere. That happened in Dallas. That happened in LA. It's still happening in Portland, and the mayor is doing nothing about it.
To happen. Yes, it's still happening, but I think we're talking about two different things here. I think you're talking about there is violence, and I'm saying most are peaceful. Are we talking about two different things? Do you think most protests that are occurring today are violent?
I believe that A, they're still violent, and B, they're still causing harm to
Again, we're
businesses.
talking about two different things. You're saying that violence occurs. I'm in agreement with you on your point. Now stick with mine. Are most protests and protesters violent? Ooh, the hesitation. I love the pauses, baby. I live for this shit.
I think it takes an instigator to get started, and then they turn violent.
Again, you are not answering my question, bro, and I'm the right dude for this. Don't get me started,
I
bro.
will answer that no. The majority of protests are peaceful.
It's a easy fucking answer, right? Why is it so hard to part his teeth?
I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a lot more people out there that are peaceful than aren't peaceful.
Why is it so hard for Taco to say that?
It takes one or two people to start something, and then probably the majority of those people suddenly start throwing stuff, suddenly start causing issues.
Well, we got to figure out who those people are.
Yes, we agree that's how it starts, but you still dance and skate. Let me ask you a direct question, and please don't answer it with how a riot starts. Here's my question. Are most protesters and protests peaceful? What do you think? I'm asking for your opinion.
There are a lot of protests that are peaceful.
Not what I asked. Thank you for that. Are most peaceful? You disagree. You don't have to say it, man.
I would say the ones during the day are peaceful. The ones at night, no.
All right. You give me something there. I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that.
Well, my biggest beef is who's swinging first. Antifa, police.
Antifa. 100% Antifa starts crap.
It's difficult to say 100%.
Bullshit. Stop fucking believing that fucking
I have been watching Antifa since 2015. They start crap.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these protests here. Let's not go back in the conception of Antifa. They suck. And I don't even know them niggas. Let's give them that. But I've been out there, and I talk to people who are out there repeatedly. Other people don't light fires, arsonists do. Very good, Peanut. And I'm telling you that these are normal niggas like me. Undoubtedly, I've seen videos where I know these guys are fucking operatives and shit. But in the ones I've been in, when they turn crazy, it was my neighbor, it was my fellow protester. And it's always, as Sanchez just alluded to, it's because everything was peaceful. We were walking down the street and some group of 100 cops or 200 cops decided they're going to cut us off, stand there, make us do this, make us do that. They are always the instigator. Stay your ass at home. Nobody would throw bottles at you. We don't need your ass out here. It's a protest. My right to do so.
Do you
fuck is you even out here for?
Do you think, Taco, that law enforcement at any of these may have escalated it to the point where they're trying to prove a point by telling everybody to stay home and, oh, look what happened. We told you to stay home.
A very good question. Do you believe that occurs, Taco?
I think it's a double-edged sword. I think they're a necessity, but yes, I think it also causes an issue.
Thank you for answering that directly. Thank you.
So we got 9 to 6.
I lost it.
Federal agents in Portland, good or bad idea? We have 9 votes for good. We have 6 votes for bad. So it's a 60-40 split right now.
Oh, somebody vote bad. Vote bad, please. I'm going to call somebody and tell them to come here and vote bad.
Joe, it's not bad. Would you, the mayor of Ted Wheeler, the mayor of Portland, is telling police to back down. Let these protesters, let Antifa run wild in Portland. He's let Antifa run wild in Portland.
The mayor said let Antifa run wild. I can't believe the mayor said that.
Yes, he is a supporter of Antifa.
The mayor of Portland?
Yes.
Said let Antifa run wild. Someone please find that quote for me.
I'm Googling it.
It's not an exact quote, but he has let them like run wild. He has not litigated any of them.
I'm going to bring up the mayor's press conference yesterday, and we're going to see if he mentioned any of that at all. It's about 3 minutes long. This was before he got pepper sprayed and everything. So bear.
Thank you. I'm pushing.
All right, I'm just going to talk. We're going to get the mic working here. All right. First of all, thank you all for being here. I want to thank the Portland Tribune. I want to thank Mark Garber, who's here somewhere, for setting up this opportunity. This is a listening session. I want to have the opportunity to hear you. And if everybody's yelling, nobody can hear anything. First of all, I want to thank the tens of thousands of Portlanders who've come out to demonstrate in support of racial justice and equity. I want to thank the thousands of you who've come out to oppose the Trump administration's occupation of our city.
Nice.
It is an unconstitutional occupation. The tactics that are being used by our federal officers are abhorrent. They do not act with probable cause. People are not being told who they are being arrested by.
Whoa!
Basic constitutional rights. The reason this is important is because it's not just happening in Portland. And the president has made it clear it's going to happen in cities that are controlled by Democratic leaders.
Yes.
Use of police force, federal police force, for political ends. That is not an acceptable solution anywhere in America. And we are on the front line here in Portland. If we are not able to get the federal administration to back off and leave our city, it will happen all across the United States.
She's doing sign language.
The United States
What the
Constitution. With regard to the local police, because I'm not sure for that responsibility either, we have heard you. You've asked for reforms. We passed historic reforms. We'll reduce the budget, and we're starting next week on the big work, which is reforming the oversight and accountability system, which I've committed to work with my colleagues to do. I know for many of you that's not enough, and I respect that, and I understand that. You're all entitled to your...
No mention of Antifa, Josh.
And
Right.
check this out.
But I'm talking about history with him. And history with him is that he has let Antifa run
You didn't
wild.
say he let.
He has
I wouldn't
supported
have
it.
jumped on you. I wouldn't have jumped on you if he said he let them run wild. That's one thing. But to say he said that out his mouth, let Antifa run wild, that's a different thing. And also, what these guys who want to keep us down, they trick us. And a little thing they do, which Taco, I think you may be slightly guilty of as well, is they intentionally use these two words, rioters and protesters.
Now,
or
this was a year
Antifa
ago.
and
This was a
or
year ago.
Antifa and protesters. They use those words like they're interchangeable, and they're not. You can't say he just lets Antifa protesters run wild. Those words are not interchangeable.
Right, Joe. So this is a year ago, probably almost a year ago from today, coincidentally. It's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be a year. Senator Ted Cruz wants Mayor Wheeler investigated. Senator Ted Cruz lives in Texas, is continues to crusade against Portland and attempt to rally his base. Sent a letter to the Attorney General William Barr and the FBI calling for an investigation of the Mayor Ted Wheeler for violating Oregon's civil rights by showing sympathy toward anti-fascist activist groups, more importantly known as Antifa. You're surely aware that the Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler has staunchly refused to deploy and support local law enforcement to restore order and prevent Antifa robberies and armed assaults. This is a year ago. I want to stress this. This is before George Floyd. This is a year ago. It is no mystery why Antifa's violence is aimed to silence. Cruz starts his letter by requesting the racketeer influencing corrupt organizations investigations into Rose City Antifa, suggesting that Portland's Antifa organization is a criminal enterprise. So Josh did make a point here.
Yes, I would agree, and I would assume that guy is corrupt. I would assume that Cruz was sending this shit to Barr. I wouldn't trust any of them, and I would also like to point out that Trump has been claiming when some crazy white organization goes out there and runs motherfuckers down or beats up a crowd. Trump, all he knows is, hey, there are good people out there. He never slams white folks. When they do that shit, he just don't, man.
Joe, have you heard the whole? Joe, have you heard the whole thing? The whole quote with that?
I doubt it.
When he said that, do you know the whole quote?
No fucking chance.
Because when he actually said that, he actually said, but not something along the lines of, but not the like extremist ones. But they cut
really?
that part out.
They cut that part. I didn't hear that part, but I've heard him repeatedly over and over again when something bad happens, when it's a racist white group. I've heard him coddle them, and when they do horrific shit, he don't come out and say Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. He don't do that for white organizations. He say, yes, well, they may be bad, but there's good people in there too. He don't do that for black folks. He don't do that for Hispanics, Chinese. That fucker's racist as hell, and it's obvious, in my opinion.
Yeah, it could be like.
So this goes a little back. So this goes back to 2018, Joe.
Trump is a moron.
So 2018, Portland mayor stands by decision to allow Antifa to block traffic, hassle motorists. This is 2018, so this is real research on the fly. Portland
mayor. I don't give a fuck. That's part of protesting. Block those fucking cars, clog up the streets. That's what you're supposed to do, as opposed to shooting cops. That's what I want to see people doing. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not on that comply, behave shit. It gets nothing done. Be clear, me and you have differences of opinions here. Fuck that. Peaceful protest.
Here's my problem. You can tell me until you're blue in the face that this isn't a political fucking dick fest, but at the end of the day, it's a political dick fest. How many times did we hear the mayor last night mention political parties?
My mayor did a lot. My mayor did in her speech. I don't know if you're talking about her, but she did a lot last night.
Ted Wheeler too just did. But here's the thing. We're trying to tap into and communicate with an audience that doesn't give two fucks about voting. They have absolutely zero faith in the system. So you're talking about vote, Democrat, Republican. You already lost me, my guy. Go fuck yourself. I don't give a shit about either of those two.
Both. The reason they call you fucking the left wing and the right wing is because you're part of the same beast. You're just separate parts of the same fucking animal. You might not even aware. The head ain't even telling you that you're fighting each other. You might not know. You might know. But you're the same beast, and neither one is good for me, good for we the people. Now, I know you're good at tricking people. I know you control the news, and I know most people watch their one news source. So those watching Fox think Black Lives Matter because they like to, what is the fucking word? Conflate with the two. What is the fucking word I'm talking about? What up, Mike? They like to tell you that Black Lives Matter. The protesters that are out here are all Black Lives Matter evil fucks. And for some reason, which it seems obvious that that's, not even possible. People came out in mass. Surely these are not all Black Lives Matter, but people don't mind throwing around if they watch Fox that, the Black Lives Matter people tore up this yesterday. Black Lives Matter set this on fire. They will use that shit like those words are interchangeable. And the same thing with the fucking Democrats. All they know is the virus is killing everybody because it's Trump's fucking bag. So that's all they talk about on CNN. They try to hang him every fucking night. And anyone with some vision should see that.
I don't know besides you and me who's been in a fist fight, but the thing I look at with fist fights, especially when there's groups of people, whether it's 3-on-3, is it's a very tense moment, and we're waiting for something to pop off, and we're waiting for someone to make that first move, and we're waiting for the first person to swing. This is what's happening here. We have police, we have protests, and in the middle, there's always a group of someone trying to start something to get shit flying. And that's the problem, is they light the match. There's riots and protests. Other groups that didn't start it are being blamed for it, while the groups who did start it are sitting back laughing like, look what we caused. Look
Agreed.
at the carnage that we just caused. They
Agreed.
instigated.
If there are 1,000 of us in the streets, it only take half a dozen people who are part of Antifa, BLM, or whatever convoluted. Thank you, baby. It's convoluted. No, baby, that wasn't it. But thank you. It only takes half a dozen motherfuckers to go out there, break a couple windows, and then have Taco believing that the protesters were evil. Stop that, Taco. That's not logical. It's not even logical that all these people came out to support their cause, and then motherfuckers broke window, and all of them are bad. That's what it sounds like when
I'm
you
not
say.
saying all of them are bad.
I know you're not, but that's what it sounds like when you label, when you use the same word. Yes, those protesters, those looters are so and so.
I should use the word rioters or looters. I apologize for that.
My man. We're good.
Figuring out who throws the first punch is essential before blaming a group for throwing it.
I got a question.
That's the frustration, is they're not doing anything about the rioters and looters, and it's killing the business. It's killing. It's hurting people. But the big thing for me is it's really hurting the business. It's hurting people's lives there. And
dude, you're talking about some fires. You do realize that 40-something million Americans have filed unemployment, and there's another 40 million that didn't file that are unemployed. And you're talking about someone losing their fucker's church's chicken. Fuck that nigga. Fuck him. Talk about the big picture. What about surely, if you're that concerned about that guy who lost his business, surely you want Trump out of office. You need this system to change, period. Fuck are we even talking about? Well, and listen, are you familiar with the phrase, from time to time, the tree of liberty must be refreshed with the blood of tyrants and patriots alike? And do you agree with it? Every time a patriot get his fucking shit burned up or cut or gets shot, I don't want to hear you complain if you're a warrior. That shit happens.
But
I don't
who's
want
the tyrant?
We're having a fucking battle. I don't want to come back and be with among my men getting ready, and all I got is some nigga in the corner talking about, it's a shame we gotta be so violent. Oh, it sucks that so-and-so got his head blown off. That's the obvious.
Here's
Get back in the fucking fight.
Here's a weakness that I'm seeing with a lot of people and a lot of groups. They don't have a sniper. They don't have a Zoom. They just blindly go after everyone and everything before having a specific target. When you're saying tyrants, you need to be specific on who is a tyrant and why, and find an effective way to get that tyrant removed. If there's a tyrant in Chicago, doing a protest in Missouri ain't gonna do shit to get that tyrant out of Chicago.
It depends. You saying if there's a tyrant, what if the tyrant is massive? What if the tyrant is nationwide? Then you change your tactics. Now suddenly protesting in Chicago will work over there. In fact, you might have niggas in London and Australia protesting for your cause.
Figuring out why they're a tyrant, like a prime example. I'm gonna do an unnamed person. I was watching an audit from an unnamed auditor the other day, and the police officer was a little rude. But this individual took a little rude, put it in a ball, made it up into a gigantic meatball, and wished that this officer would catch a live bullet.
I hate that.
What the fuck?
I hate it.
What the fuck?
When I went out of town, Sancho, I get out the car the first fucking time, and immediately my man jumps on his microphone and starts screaming, "Die, piggy, die, piggy." I hop back in the car. We're out there on the street. It's about a dozen of us in Indiana somewhere, and my man is wearing a Blue Line flag. So someone probably thought he supported the cops. I don't know what she thought, but when she came over to ask questions, my man spun around. I come over with a smile on my face to educate her. My man spun around. It's sheeple like you, blah, blah, blah. Poor lady and her, I don't know, niece, daughter, friend, whatever. You know, if their face dropped. I hate that shit too, Sancho. It makes my job so much fucking harder.
I relate to you with the upbringing. I relate to you. I grew up in a bad neighborhood. I grew up with parents who grew up in racial times. They thought that white people should date white people, black people should date black people. They thought if the colored person was nearby, they had to grip their, wallet and purse. It was a lifestyle that I wanted nothing to do. And I was the first person to move out of my house, to stand on my own and to think on my own. And it would I remember the first girl that I brought home that was black, smoking hot. Oh my God, she was smoking hot. And I was naive. I'm going to school. I'm growing up in an urban neighborhood. My best friend's a Puerto Rican. I bring her home. She's, downstairs, and I go up to, my mom happened to see her accidentally because she was just going to use the bathroom. And I'm, stupid me. He's like, what'd you think? She goes, yeah, she's great, but there's only one problem. She's black. And that will always ring to me. And it's that wide brush that I find that's absolutely disgusting.
Man.
Because my parents might have had a bad experience growing up, or their parents it's a fucking roller coaster. And the system needs to be stopped. And I'm glad to say that it stopped on my end, because what my parents feel and think does not mean their son or daughter is going to do the same. And I grew up with an open mind, and I grew up, and you can never say the words "I don't see color" like someone did recently, and it made a big deal, because that's fucking ignorant. That's fucking ignorant. If you don't see color, then you're not seeing the pain and suppression and issues that have been going on for the longest time. If you want to live color. If you want to live in a unicorn fantasy rainbow world, it doesn't exist.
Agreed. Agreed. Everything you just said, agreed.
Can I bring up one last point? And I think Joe will actually agree with this, hopefully. Before that, Joe, I do love your laugh, man. It's one of the best laughs. But,
man, I'm appreciating you more and more as the seconds tick by.
Okay, I think with the death of George Floyd, a great opportunity was missed. It was an opportunity for all sides to get together and make some great changes that needed to be made. Unfortunately, there was this radical, loud minority that took over and caused riots and created this defund or get rid of all police, and it distracted from what could have been some great change to the police system.
We do agree, but Taco, I do not think it was by coincidence, accidents, happenstance. I think it's by design. I think our politicians take every opportunity. Not only that, our government probably got half those saboteurs out there, provocateurs out there. But I think any fight, anything that happened, they were going to use that to change the topic of the conversation where they want it, which is why I get angry when motherfuckers all focus on Antifa. Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. That just changes the subject from where it needs to be. And I would agree with you. A small group of motherfuckers were able to change the fucking subject. I agree with that shit.
Big question. A poll has opened. Will change ever come after George Floyd's death? Vote yes.
I'm dying to know what the chat thinking. I've been neglecting the chat. I ain't even looked at it.
Because, I've spoken about my, I don't want to say ralliness or my advocacy on certain subjects. And I was very close with a police chief locally, had his cell phone and everything. And I realized that person was a politician. And once I realized that, hell was on earth. FOIAs, you name it. And I became obsessed. I not only became the enemy, I became obsessed with knowing the truth, with knowing what's out there, and having an issue with it. The second you question authority, you become an issue. That needs to change. Instead of it being looked at as questioned, let's have your ears open and entertain the question instead of thinking you're getting questioned. And I think that's a big issue we're having, is not being adults enough to sit down at the table and be like, listen, this isn't the way it needs to be. This is all fucked up. But what can we do to fix it from both sides?
As opposed to just telling all day, talking about how fucked up it is.
Here's how it is. Deal with it. Move on. No, that's not effective. Mr. Oregon, Michael Malloy, how are you?
Hello, Salem, Oregon, talking, and screw Portland.
Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck Portland.
So what do you know about this mayor, if anything?
Ted Wheeler sucks, and so does Kate Brown, the governor of Oregon. They let all this crap happen. I blame those two.
So did you vote for federal agents?
Democrat or Republican? They are Democrats, but my wife is a Democrat. I'm a Republican, but I'm getting out of both parties. I'm not going to vote anymore.
I'm with you on that,
I'm tired
Mike.
of the Democrat Republican fight and all that crap. I'm tired of it. I'm not voting in 2020.
And that's my other
Restate your
issue.
question, Sancho. Restate your question.
I'm going to state it in a second, but that's my other issue with COVID, with protests. People are getting fucking sick of politics, so they're not going to vote. But the people in power are using it as a political scapegoat to the point where voting numbers are going to be at an all-time low because people are losing faith. Michael Malloy, question.
So very good.
Yes or no, federal authorities in Portland, Oregon, good or bad idea?
Bad balls, baby.
Bad.
Yeah, Michael, I've never in my life voted in a primary, and I have no intention of starting.
That's good. I'm not voting anymore. I'm tired of it. My wife's a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm getting out of the Republican Party in 2020. In November. I'm not voting at all. So that'll disqualify me as a registered voter, and I'm proud of that.
Not necessarily,
here, man. I used to believe that you have to vote whether you get stabbed or beat with a bat. Bullshit. Both options suck, but you have to sit up there and ponder whether the bat can break a bone, the knife can puncture a lung. I feel like I'm an idiot for even indulging in that, man. There's got to be a third option.
Oh, I'm not voting. That's my.
Well, how is change going to be instituted, Michael Malloy, if your voice isn't heard?
Other people will vote for me, I guess. Either way.
Here's my beef.
And the choice is yours. Don't vote, and the choice is theirs.
My beef are the people who complain about how things are ran, yet do nothing to contribute in a decision for things to be different.
I just don't like Kate Brown or Ted Wheeler, either one of those two clowns. I don't like them.
But Sancho, to Mike's point here, when they present the options for you to vote for, that's not that the system's rigged. He's not really making a difference. If Mike's voice is gonna be heard, apparently it won't be through voting. That shit sucks. Is rigged. You vote for one of the two people they put up there, both which will hurt you. So he has to make his voice heard another way, like he does with his show.
Exactly. Thank you, Joe.
I think South Park had it correct. You basically voting for either a turd sandwich or a giant douche.
I know, right?
Exactly.
I'm tired of that shit.
Now, I don't want to get.
Sancho, I got a bail on you. I got to get up with Chuck Nam in about an hour.
I was just going to mention Tupac. No one else knows who the hell he is on this panel if you leave. Tupac, before his death, wanted to start another party. No, there's the Democrats, the Independents, the Republicans. Tupac was trying to start a movement to have another party group.
Smart guy. One of the four founding fathers said that the worst thing I can ever imagine would be a two-party system. Mm-hmm. And we grew up under it.
We need another group.
We do. I don't care if it's labor, libertarian. It needs to be a valid one, though. We probably need a new name because we think we already know what the other parties stand for, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Sancho, I gotta go. Dinner
All right.
calls.
I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes. Thank you guys for hopping on. Michael Malloy, Taco Josh. I think you two are the only ones left that are going to be hop
Jay,
on.
I'm sorry that I talk so much because I really would have loved to hear more of what you say. You always drop bombs, and I'm sorry that I was so fucking passionate today. Love and later, guys.
Joe's on his way to go start another party, thankfully.
Joe, give us. Oh, I was
He's
going
gonna
to ask him
start
to give
the
us
cool
one last
gang.
laugh.
He's got to start the cool gang or something. But no, I'm genuinely a big fan of, if we need leadership, let's start small. Let's start it through the communities. Let's start it through the cities. Let's start it through, and then eventually climb up to the state, and then use that clout from the state level to be like, okay, this is what it needs to grow. Every movement needs patience. Every group needs time. And I think the effective way with what we're looking at in Portland, Oregon, take me to your leader.
I'm only an hour away from Portland by car.
Yeah, let's go. What are we doing here? Let's go.
I wish I had transportation to cover it, but I don't.
Imagine Michael Malloy going live tonight.
If I could get a ride up to Portland, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'd be covering it with my cell phone.
You would need protection, though. You need someone with you.
That's true.
And you need a helmet and goggles.
Yeah, yep.
Learn from what happened with Peachy Rider. When Peachy Rider was in Atlanta, she got everything from rocks to hot dogs thrown at her. And it's good to have a helmet and it's good to have goggles and it's good to protect your noggin and protect your face. So we're at a dead heat right now. We'll change every come after George Floyd's death. That's the last poll of our afternoon stream tonight.
There will be another one again after that, and there'll be more protests and all that. It's cyclical. It'll keep. There's going to be no change in all that.
Even going over and over again.
Even if Biden becomes president and
there'll be change, but it's not going to be good change.
Well, I'm just saying it's going to stay the same with the protests and all that. I mean, especially with people with cameras that are taking pictures and are filming or whatever, and it's not going to change because people are still going to protest.
Make sure if you vote, Jarhead, this is how you vote. Exclamation vote, then space no. There you go, just like that. That is the way to vote. If you want to vote no, just to show that I'm not biased, I want to see how to vote yes. And David Swinton shows it. Yes. Have you done polls yet, Michael Malloy, I think it's cool getting people interactive.
No, I just want to come on panel and talk. Talk about all this stuff.
Well, it's close to home, Neil. It's an hour away.
An hour away by car. If I could get up there, I'd go live with it all.
What resolution, if any, do you two think we'll have in Portland, and when?
As soon as the protests stop, but then in Portland, there's always protesters. There's always protesters. It's like Seattle. There's always protesters in that city.
Josh?
Yeah, I think it's just gonna be a lot of federal force that's gonna end up kind of canceling out the protest where it kind of fizzles out. But
I think the federal presence is what's making it escalated. The federal presence is what's making this a bigger issue.
Right, but I think
is a solution may actually be the problem.
But it'll get to a point where the federal presence will eventually just dissipate it.
How? By locking everybody up and throwing them in jail?
It's just the general presence. It won't even be locking up. It'll just be the general presence. It's kind of like with some of the riots. Once they put in the National Guard, those riots would stop. And I think that's what will kind of happen here is once the full force actually takes effect, those kind of like the overnight ones will stop.
My skin crawls when I see that Navy veteran walking up to those federal agents and just asking questions about the Constitution, and they beat him with a nightstick.
Kate
They
Brown's not going to call the National Guard. She won't do it in Portland. She'll let it go. And Ted Wheeler is not going to ask for assistance from the federal government.
How much is it? How much do you think? Okay, if Trump wasn't the president and sent them there, would it be this big of an issue?
It would still be an issue. Look at when Obama was president. There was just as many riots. They might not have been as severe, but there was plenty of riots when Obama was president.
What, in your opinion, Michael Malloy, separates Oregon from a Boston or from a Rhode Island that did protest for a couple weeks, a week or two, but stopped? Oregon has not stopped. What separates Oregon from a place like Massachusetts that,
like I said, Portland has plenty of protests. After this one, there'll be another one.
For what though? Is it the same subject they're protesting?
No, it could be different topics that they're protesting up there. There's since I've been here in 2003. That's when I moved here in Salem, Oregon. There have been protests every once in a great while. It keeps going, and it doesn't matter what they're, they could be protesting. I remember there were protests for that guy from who's that? Who was who was it that lost to Biden in the primaries? What's that guy's name? I'm drawing a blank.
Are you talking about Bernie Sanders?
Yeah, thank you. That's the person exactly. Bernie Sanders. There were protests when he was there. So there's always protests going on in Portland, and it doesn't have to be political. It can be other kinds of things too, as well.
It's their national pastime.
For Portland, it seems like it, and Seattle. You hardly ever see protests in Salt Lake City, Utah.
I think the biggest challenge we're having here is the lack of faith we have we have in our system. And I think that's problematic, and I think that's an issue. I think if we had more faith in the system, we would be more able to believe, okay, we know this is going to die down because we have faith in the system. And I don't think that's what we have right now. And I think that's where the big concern and the big issue is, I'm reading the chat. I don't see confidence in that chat. I don't see confidence in the system. I don't see confidence in the way it should be, the way things are, the change. I don't see that. And that's a problem, in my opinion.
Oh, I take it back. For Salt Lake City, Utah, they do have protests. Anti-Mormons protest in Salt Lake City. That's all you're gonna see mostly.
Right. Well,
and that's like every time they hold a conference and all kinds of stuff. I know Salt Lake. I was born there.
But do you understand my point where I get to about lack of faith in the system, and that's why there's a lot of angry people out there because of that?
A lack of what?
A lot of angry people, because it's a never-ending roller coaster that's not changing, and it's getting people more angry and angrier, and it's getting people to lose faith in the system more and more. Do you see where I am going with that?
Yes, I see it continuing and continuing. It doesn't matter who the president of the United States is. You're still going to have protesters, and you're going to have riots, things like that.
Josh, what do you think about all this?
I think it's just the type of people that, well, and I'm not saying it's all, that it's all the people that live up there, but a large part of the population that live up there are younger and heavily liberal, or, college kids that have grown to these kind of like far left ideas of socialism and stuff like that, and kind of taken to these type of things, and that's where they go to these protests and everything like that. And some have taken to the more extreme areas. I mean, Portland is one of the more one of the most liberal cities in America, and I think that's why you see one of it being more of the protest type city. And I'm not saying liberals are bad or anything like that. It's just
Taco Josh, are you in Oregon?
no.
Okay. Just curious. I see it
So
all local news. That's all we get is Portland news. We don't get Salem news because there's not a Salem station for it's too small of a city. Like Portland's the biggest city in Oregon, so for population wise.
and Mike, you might be able to tell me wrong. Is Portland pretty much a younger liberal town city?
Oh yes, definitely. Medford, Oregon is senior citizens like me. I don't want to live there though. That's southern Oregon. You won't have any protests much there, but it's always around Portland is where you're going to find the most protests. They did have a protest at the state capitol a couple months ago, and it was very small compared to Portland. Portland is huge. Portland's huge.
What scares me with some of those crowds is if you don't agree with everything they say, then you're against them and you shouldn't be around, or you are against them type thing. There is no compromise. There is no dialogue.
I'd love to. I would love to go up to Portland and carry this. And unfortunately, I don't have any transportation, but I'd love to do it. But then again, I'm in a wheelchair, so I'd still like to do it.
All right, I'm trying to add a countdown timer to the show, trying to get fancy and shit, but it's not turning out well. I'm trying to work on Streamlabs and get more familiar with Streamlabs and adding some cool things to Streamlabs. So trying to get a little countdown to wrapping it up. Anybody in the chat have any questions for Sancho or for the panel before I get off? Let's revisit the poll, shall we? How do you think we did in the poll? Do you think 10 votes will change ever come after George Floyd's death? 10 votes. What do we think the answer was?
Well, I'm pretty sure it probably said no. I believe it'll probably be yes, but
80
was
20.
no.
80-20. And we gotta fix this. There needs to be a resolution. But when you ask what a resolution should be, 50 people give 50 different answers. That's the problem. We gotta focus on one, capitalize and maximize that one. All the other small ones need to be minimized. And we need to take the big issues and the big fights backed up with facts and why it's a fight and why it's a legitimate issue and bring that to the table. Do you guys agree or disagree?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, can you repeat that, please?
I think the biggest issue is picking your battles and figuring out which battle you want to choose with. I think it's better for you. I look at it as like a football analogy when it comes to leaders. Football analogy is there can be only one person to score. One person takes that ball to the end zone. Who's it going to be?
An outsider of some sorts.
We don't have that. We don't have that in Portland. We don't have that in Chicago. We don't have that in Oakland if they come to Oakland.
I didn't name the outsider, but someone from the outside.
But there's no outsider. There's no one to name is my
the
point.
outside will submerge up.
But if you but like you need unity. You need teams. Because if not,
there is none. There is none.
Right. But you also got to realize with it's not showing up now. Shit. You can't show it up now. Wait, here it is. There's unity with these federal agents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the background. 7 on 1. That's unity. That's cohesiveness. We don't have that.
Nope.
At this point, I'm rooting for COVID.
You're rooting for what?
For COVID.
You're rooting for COVID for what?
It's just, it was partially a joke. It was a bad joke.
Okay. All right. So we need unity. We need leadership. And we're not getting that. With every movement, you look at leadership. With every movement, you say, take me to your leader. Hell, with what happened with what happened recently in Washington with the whole Seattle Trump. There were some kind of leadership there. There were some kind of, ways to make it work there. We don't have that here. That's a problem. That's a gigantic problem, in my opinion. Humbling, in my opinion. Without leadership, so poll results is the most voted option was 80% of the votes was no. So let me ask you guys this question.
Okay.
Everyone's mad about George Floyd. Everybody wants to throw a chair through a window. They're pissed off. They're angry. They're sad. They're going out there. They're screaming to the top of their lungs to try to get change. And after all that, at least a small majority in this chat room believes change will not come. After all that. Why not?
Well, I think I kind of went by that with how the one small extreme is trying to get it to be defunding the police or getting rid of the police, and that's not going to happen. But that's where the dialogue's been taken, and where that has kind of taken over where change could have happened. And one thing I'm worried about is that same extreme also pushed for what I think are going to be heavier charges against the police that did for George Floyd. And I'm worried that the prosecutor is going to have a hard time getting him on the charges that he is currently on. And if that happens, the riots that are going to happen from that are going to be a lot worse than what they are now.
I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to get worse before it gets any better.
That's the problem, is we're waiting for bloodshed. We're waiting for more lives to be lost.
A civil war.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Is we're waiting for more lives, more blood to be shed, which is only going to make us more angry, by the way. What you think we need is only going to make everybody more pissed off and angry and yell louder and throw cocktails and all that shit. Because there's more bloodshed. There's more death. So what you think needs to happen is what's pissing everybody off in the first place. Press 1 in the chat if you guys agree with that logic. Press 2 in the chat if you think I'm fucking crazy. Which we all know I'm fucking crazy, but
you're doing a great job, kind sir.
Yeah, I wasn't really planning on doing. I've only done one other afternoon stream ever, and it was the day I got shut down and killed. So I was kind of afraid to do another afternoon stream. I hope I don't
get shut down.
I hope I don't close the stream and my channel gets dead again, like last time.
I hope not.
I've been a good boy, hopefully.
I think you have. I don't. You know, I think you're doing a good job.
Trying to be a good boy.
I think they could have done some simple changes in weakening qualified immunity, weakening the police unions that allow bad cops to stay on the force, you know, making independent review boards mandatory and stuff like that, where accountability is more outside of the actual police force rather than inside. Because unfortunately, you're always going to have bad apples, but it's getting those bad apples before it becomes habitual bad apples.
Figuring out who's the bad apple. You know, it's like going through a laundry basket full of apples. You have to take the bad ones out and throw them out and discard them. I don't think we're doing that. I think we're taking the whole basket of apples and we're throwing them out, labeling everybody bad, labeling everybody a problem. And that's the problem we're having with society right now.
Well, yeah.
That's
I'm
the
just saying,
problem.
but that's what I'm saying for the solution wise are some small things we could do is reducing qualified immunity, reducing the strength of the police union to prevent this, you know, retention of bad cops that, you know, have done bad things that get to stick on the force or get transferred to another police department that shouldn't be, stuff like that, because that does happen, unfortunately.
Right. And I think it's important for everybody to realize and understand that we need to fix the flaws. We need to correct the flaws. We have a 5-minute countdown starting now, guys. We need to do our best to take the bad, expose the bad, put the bad on a pedestal, and get the good cops and the activists and the auditors and the cop watchers and all those people need to be on the same side as the good cops to go after the bad cops.
I agree 100% on that.
And that's where we're having an issue. Everybody's bad. You're a pig because you have a shield. Go kill yourself. That's not right. That's not healthy. That's not logical. That's not moral. That's just disgusting. And that needs to change.
I agree.
And I'll tell you what, I was a TSA officer for 10 years. And when you feel like everyone's against you as a whole, you tend to defend your own. You know, you stand as a group. Now, you know, I had no problem telling, you know, hey, this person was bad. I had to, as part of my job was, you know, if someone was being bad, I had to write them up or discipline them, whatever. But in general, you supported your own because, you know, no one else was going to. You know, we were looked at as the redheaded stepchild of the federal government at the time.
Also a big nonsense, probably at first. Sancho has smoked 0 weed today. 0 weed. How can you tell? Are you noticing a difference? What are you noticing?
You're a little bit more peppy. You got pep to your step.
There you go.
Part of me thinks I'm more intelligent when I smoke. Part of me thinks I'm in a different mindset when I smoke.
You're a bit more feisty.
50 subs away to 600 subs. We're at 550 subs in less than 2 months.
That's good.
50 away from 600 subs.
Doing good, man.
Yeah,
Come on, guys. 350 more people. Let's get
50 people. We need 50 more people.
Let's get 350 more. How about that?
I love that. I love to get to 1,000 quickly, but I'm also a baby in this, and I want to take my time and earn every subscription. And literally, I got my first negative email the other day, and I literally answered it and apologized and said, I'm sorry I made such a bad first impression.
I'm sorry I emailed you that.
You didn't email me that. 2-minute countdown, guys. 2-minute countdown. Let's kind of unpack what's happened during this stream. Michael Malloy, you first.
What was the question?
Unpack the whole stream. Unpack what's going on in Portland, Oregon, what your thoughts are, and any resolution, if any.
It's going to keep going in Portland until they get rid of Ted Wheeler and Kate Brown. Then there's going to be other protests in Portland that probably have nothing to do with what's going on now. There's always something going on in Portland. Reminds me of Hollywood, West Hollywood / That's what Portland reminds me of.
Okay, real quick before Josh goes, press 1 in the chat if you guys want me to do a specific COVID-19 stream. I've been thinking about doing a COVID-19 vaccine stream. Press 1 in the chat if you guys think it's a good idea. Press 2 in the chat if not. Josh, unpack this afternoon's topic, Portland, Oregon protest. What do you think?
I think it's a heated subject. I mean, you can tell that there's lots of people concerned. There's lots of people on both sides. There's people in the middle. And it's not going to, there is no easy answer. And it's not going to get better fast. The right would like to say, hey, the federal government's going to come in and fix it. The left saying, hey, get out of it. We'll do it ourselves. But they've had 2 months to try and do that, and it hasn't. But neither side looks to fix it. So let's see what, who knows what's going to happen.
I thank you both for hopping on. I have 2 streams coming up. Well, we have the Will Turbin interview tomorrow night. We have Saturday night is with Southside Slacker. I'm working on News Now South Carolina, trying to get him in as well. Working on potentially Tom Zebra. Would love to get him on this weekend as well. I do want to do a COVID-19 stream about a vaccine for COVID, and I also want to do a stream on what's happening in Chicago and kind of shine a big light on that and become educated and just discuss it. A lot of people, someone from Australia or someone from Oregon might not know what's going on in Chicago and vice versa, and I think a stream like this is good. So we are live count for subscription count. I'm at 500 and it's 550, so let's just say 50 subs away from 600. Michael Malloy, NJ Diver, Joe Cool, Taco Josh, thank you all for hopping on this impromptu stream.
Thank you for having me, El Sancho.
I plan to be on later tonight around 10:30, 11 p.m. Eastern with another topic. So everybody, thank you for tuning into El Sancho Live, and I will probably see you tonight.
Sounds good.